Welcome back. I am currently having the intrusive thought that I'm not sure if I actually started recording. I'm just gonna leave it be in worst case. If I genuinely didn't hit record, you guys will have a great reinterpretation of me sitting here. Jesus. Okay. No, we weren't that far. We were on chapter 1. What am I doing? Let me put the phone down. And as for how far I've gotten, I think I've read oh yeah, I have it here. So last time, I believe I was at 169. So now I have personally gotten up to 245, which is not that impressive to avid readers, but I'm enjoying it, so suck my dick. Alright, with that said, let's start reading this holy book. Okay, chapter 1, Devavrata. You must certainly become my wife, whoever you may be. Thus said the great King Santanu to the goddess Ganga, who stood before him in human form, intoxicating his senses with her superhuman loveliness. The king earnestly offered for her love, his kingdom, his wealth, his all, his very life. Ganga replied, O king, I shall become your wife, but on certain conditions, that neither you nor anyone else should ever ask me who I am or whence I came. You must also not stand in the way of whatever I do, good or bad, nor must you ever be wroth with me on any account whatsoever. You must not say anything displeasing to me. If you act otherwise, I shall leave you then and there. Do you agree? The infatuated king vowed his assent, and she became his wife and lived with him. The heart of the king was captivated by her modesty and her grace, and the steady love she bore him. King Santanu and Ganga lived a life of perfect happiness, oblivious of the passage of time. She gave birth to many children, each newborn babe. And yes, my dad points this out, sorry to interrupt, but my dad chuckled at this when I tried to read him this chapter a couple weeks ago. And he was like, hey, stop saying babes. But I can say baby, but it is, for the record, babe in the book. Each newborn baby, she took to the Ganga and cast into the river, and then returned to the king with a smiling face. Santanu was filled with horror and anguish at such fiendish conduct, but suffered it all in silence, mindful of the promise he had made. Often he wondered who she was, wherefrom she had come, and why she acted like a murderous witch. Still bound by his word and his all-mastering love for her, uttered no word of blame or remonstrance. Thus she killed 7 children. When the 8th child... One moment. Was born, and she was about to throw it in the Ganga, Santanu could not bear it any longer. He cried, Stop, stop, why are you bent on this horrid and unnatural murder of your own innocent babies? With this outburst, the king restrained her. O great king, she replied, you have forgotten your promise, for your heart is set on your child, and you do not need me any more. I go. I shall not kill this child, but listen to my story before you judge me. I, who am constrained to play this hateful role by the curse of Vasishta. Jesus, I really can't see with this lighting. I apologize. I'll lean back a bit. Wait. I can change the mode. Hold up. One that doesn't move. I could work with that. I can work with that. Okay. Where was I? Alright. Okay. Yeah. I, who am constrained to play this hateful role by the curse of Vasishta, am the goddess Ganga, adored of gods and men. Vasishta cursed the 8 Vasus to be born into the world of men, and moved by their supplications, I was about to say applications, said, I was to be their mother. I bore them to you, and well, it is for you that it was so. For you will go to higher regions for this service you have done to the 8 Vasus. I shall bring up this last child of yours for some time, and then return it to you as my gift. After saying these words, the goddess disappeared with the child. It was this child who later became famous as Bhishma. This is how the Vasus came to incur Vasishta's curse. They went for a holiday with their wives to a mountain. Hold up. My nose is itching. I feel like I might be getting a cold. I hope not. But I keep feeling like sniffling, and then I try not to, so that it doesn't sound like, atrocious. Alright. Anyways. They went for holiday with their wives to a mountain. A mountain tract where stood the hermitage of Vasishta. One of them was Vasishta's cow, Nandini, grazing there. Its divinely beautiful form attracted him, and he pointed it out to the ladies. They were all loud in praise of the graceful animal, and one of them requested her husband to secure it for her. He replied, What need have we, the Devas, for the milk of cows? This cow belongs to the sage Vasishta, who is the master of the whole place. Man will certainly become immortal by drinking its milk, but this is no gain to us, who are already immortal. Is it worth our while incurring Vasishta's wrath, merely to satisfy a whim? But she was not thus to be put off. I have a dear companion in the mortal world. It is for her sake that I make this request. Before Vasishta returns, we shall have escaped with the cow. You must certainly do this for my sake, for it is my dearest wish. Finally, her husband yielded. All the Vasus joined together and took the cow and the calf away with them. When Vasishta returned to his ashrama, he missed the cow and the calf because they were indispensable for his daily rituals. Very soon, he came to know by his yogic insight all that had taken place. Anger seized him, and he uttered a curse against that they should be born into the world of men. When the Vasus came to know of the curse, repentant too late, they threw themselves at the sage's mercy and implored forgiveness. Vasishta said, The cursed must take its course. Prabhasa, the Vasu who seized the cow, will live long in the world in all glory, but the others will be freed from the curse as soon as born. My words cannot prove ineffective, but I shall soften the curse to this extent. Afterwards, Vasishta set his mind again on his austerities. the effect of which had been slightly impaired by his anger. Sages who perform austerities acquire the power to curse, but every exercise of this power reduces their store of merit. The Vasus felt relieved and approached the goddess Ganga and begged of her, "We pray you to become our mother. For our sake we beseech you to descend to the earth and marry a worthy man. Throw us in the water as soon as we are born and liberate us from the curse." The goddess granted their prayer, came to the earth, and became the wife of Santanu. When the goddess Ganga left Santanu and disappeared with the 8th child, the king gave up all sensual pleasures and ruled the kingdom in a spirit of asceticism. One day he was just heard that comical squeak. Okay. One day he was wandering along the banks of the Ganga when he saw a boy endowed with the beauty and form of Devendra, the king of the gods. The child was amusing himself by casting a dam of arrows across the Ganga in flood, playing with the mighty rivers as a child with an indulgent mother. To the king, who stood transfixed with amazement at sight, the goddess Ganga revealed herself and presented the child as his own son. She said, "O king, this is that 8th child I bore you. I have brought him up till now. His name is Devavrata. He has mastered the art of arms and equals Parasurama in prowess. He has learnt the Vedas and the Vedanta from Vasishta and is well versed in the arts and sciences known to Sukra. Take back with you this child, who is a great archer and hero, as well as a master in statecraft." Then she blessed the boy, handed him to his father, the king, and disappeared. The end of chapter 1. Alright, so basically what I thought I would start doing is I would just start reading them like this, because I figured the explanations kind of distract a little too much from like the flow of reading it and trying to just like have the narrating voice, you know. Like I go into like my own little tism world, you know, and I kind of want to enjoy that process and not get too stressed out about it, because it already is a little stressful. It does kind of feel like when you are asked to read in front of the whole class, you know. And yeah, and sometimes the words just, and I'm like, oh god, I lost my place. And you know, I want to keep it a smooth, not super edit necessary experience, right? And I don't want to take like 50 million years to finish making these, but at the same time, you know, life. So I don't know, we'll see. But what I was thinking of doing to kind of make, in case the language is a little bit difficult for anyone, is I wanted to start getting back a little bit into basically this Indian classical dance that I was like raised with and taught and stuff like that for like many years, and I kind of didn't do as much of it the last couple years. And I don't know, like I feel like I don't always have the best memories associated with my like old dance classes histories and stuff. It's just like I don't know, but I do enjoy dance, you know. I love dance and all its varieties, and it's very fun, and it's something that I do think I want to share more of. And it's a great storytelling medium. That's the thing, is like it's a very like a very pretty and fun and dynamic way of like not just telling the stories, but like you can change character very quickly just through, you know, one style of like dance position to another and things like that, you know. there's just so much you can do with it, and this story has so much, and I've just really been enjoying it. Like, the world is crazy. It's a lot right now, and I don't know, like, reading this book has made me feel like when I was a little kid, and I'm just like under the covers, like addicted to a book, reading it like in the middle of the night. Like, that's how it feels like when I'm reading. I don't know, maybe it's just his writing. It's so like borderline poetic in prose. I've just been enjoying it, and I think that's kind of like one of the things that I find interesting. Like, I have this major connection with like the English language and literacy, and I like to write, and I don't do it as much as I would like to. I'm trying to do more, but just exploring the fact that I have, via my life, access to skills in reading and writing, specifically in English, which has become like a currency language. If you know English, you have some amount of power in this world, which is what it was for a very long time. And now it's become more accessible, and more languages outside of English have been gaining power and recognition on like a global scale. It's a very complicated, weird little thing. But colonization and stuff happened, so English is still the gold standard in a lot of places, and it is the main language that I think and speak in. And yet, I'm not from, my genes aren't from here, my Sydney Sweeney genes. They're not blue, they're brown as fuck. I don't know, but, so that's the thing, it's just, I was thinking about this, another conversation with my dad that I had, a few days ago, was, I was just thinking about how my grandma, not my grandma, my great-grandma, on my dad's side, she knew English, but, and she was a very spiritual person, and I feel like she's passed on, and I only met her, a few times, a handful of times, when I was very young, before she passed away, and I feel very connected to her, and she kind of, I think her presence and impact in my life and stuff is, she was the most spiritual person in my recent immediate family and such, and it reminds me that, even as someone who's in a scientific field where it's medicine and Western medicine and, scientific method, that there is a bit of room for spirituality still, and more than a bit, because, for me, it's a big deal. It's a big part of what I spend my days thinking about, and, it's what tickles my brain, but it's not necessarily, it's a big part of this world in terms of religion, has influenced a lot of war and politics, and it's so integrated into the history of our world, right? But at the same time, I think, I don't know, here, living in a Western country as someone who grew up with an Eastern religion, I feel like a lot of the people I see when I go outside and look around and stuff, they seem very disconnected from what I feel like spirituality was more intended to be about, and that's not to put any boxes on what anyone's spirituality should be like or be about, but I at least feel like now that there is a bit more room for me to relatively, safely talk about my own spirituality and how it impacts my life and things like that, and the stories that I grew up with, even within the borders of the U.S., I don't know, I don't want to pass up that opportunity. It feels very exciting to, open up some, I don't know what word I was looking for, but I was trying to say, like, more conversations, you know. I think it's something that can bring a lot of people peace. And I don't know. Yeah. That's about it. Peace. Peace, peace, peace. Okay. So, what I was trying to say was I wanted to do, like, little dance summary videos type of things. Because what it reminded me of was when my old dance teacher she would basically tell stories and break down, like, the dance story we were about to do by speaking, like, sentences to explain each story. And we would act them out one by one, you know. And I thought I could do something sort of like that, where I'm kind of trying to explain the gist of each chapter in a way that's still kind of visually entertaining or appealing or something, you know, interesting somehow. I definitely don't fit into my old dance clothes. I'm a few pixels wider now. But I have lots of random clothes that I can experiment with, Indian and Western, so I will have fun with that. Dress up. Woo! Yeah, but that's where I'm gonna leave this video at for now. So, thank you. Bye-bye.